Hi, I'm Joe.
And I'm Lance.
And we're the SAR guys.
So, more ropes, Joe.
Yeah, I found these things. I'm wondering what I'm supposed to do with them.
I would hope that you would know by now.
Okay, so let's show them. Today we're going to talk about how to use a Prusik. And with the Prusik, you need a couple other things. But so I do have a carabiner, a locking carabiner. And you want to talk about these carabiners for just a second? About the ratings on them and not to use certain ones?
Yeah, it's real important to check the ratings on them. They're going to say, normally it's going to be in kilonewtons, and you want to make sure that you define it in normal terms. And so this one is rated at 75 kilonewtons on the ends, or I'm not 75, 25 on the ends. And so then there's another number here. It's actually if the load goes against the mouth here or the opening, and then that downfalls it to 7 kilonewtons. And so anytime you use a carabiner, you want to make sure that you use it in the full strength of the pull. But there's other ones. In fact, I have one in my pocket that people will use. It's a carabiner, stainless steel, right? But there's no ratings on it. And if there is, it's not a rating. Yeah, this one doesn't have a rating on it. It's not used for climbing. And I don't have one, but I do have one on some of my other gear. But the ones that you typically get on your keychains, right. Those, normally they're going to say it nowadays. It's kind of like our coffee needs to say caution, it's hot. The carabiners say not for climbing. So that means we don't use it for climbing. We don't use it for any kind of safety stuff.
What's this little thing?
It's your gate, and that's your gate latch.
Okay. Do you have to have that?
I would highly suggest it. So there's going to be a couple different styles. You're going to have some that don't have this automatic lock, and then they just open and close, which I wouldn't use it in this type of fashion. You have an auto lock one, so it does the job for you, or you have a twisting fashion where you have to spin it up and lock it, and always double check whether or not it's locked or not.
So we need locking carabiners. Don't
Yes.
just use the cheap old things that you get with the local hardware store's phone number on
Yes.
it. Okay.
And carabiners are not that expensive to get a quality carabiner. You can go on Amazon and get them, granted and still rated. You can go on to the different climbing websites and get them. But to get a quality carabiner, you're like $20, $25, but think about what it's there for.
Right.
$25 is not that much when I'm putting my life at the end of it. And really what we're showing you is more for low angle stuff, but you can use it for high angle and everything. So it just really depends on what your team uses.
Okay, let's go see how we use it.
All right.
We're going to be attaching our backpack to a static line today. And when you might use this is if you're on a low angle rescue and you're dealing with an injured patient or something, you need to take your pack off, you're afraid it's going to slide down the hill, and you do have a static line for whatever you might need it for gear. So what I'm going to do is, first we're going to use the Prusik. Now the Prusik's got, I'm using a double fisherman's bend knot on it, and there's others that are prefabricated Prusiks. We'll do a separate video on how to tie that particular knot. But to use a Prusik, it's very simple. We'll take it and grab it by the knot, and we'll go across our static line and wrap this around 1, 2, and 3 times. And then we'll take the slack out and keep it dressed. You want to make sure it's nice and neat. So we can see that okay, so that looks nice and neat. You can see all the lines. There's no tangles. It's really important that there not be tangled, because now that this is on this static line, I can pull down and that's not going to go anywhere. But if I need to move it, all I have to do is just slide it up or slide it down. I can slide it wherever I need to. Another thing that's important, this one's a little bit close, but we want to make sure that this knot is not in the bend. And if it is, you can kind of work the line around a little bit, like I'm doing here, and we'll get that to where that knot is not quite in the bend. Okay, and now that's still nice and neat. And now will take my carabiner, attach it, and we'll get that to where that knot is not quite in the bend. Okay, and now that's still nice and neat. 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 And now that's still nice and ne and then I'll take the load, whatever I want to put on there. So in this case, it's going to be my backpack, and I'll put that on there. Okay, and that's locked, and it's not going anywhere. If I need to move it a little bit, I can slide it up, or I can slide it down just by grabbing onto it and moving it, but it won't go unless you have your hand on the knot and you're releasing it that way. Okay, well, I hope you found that useful.
Yeah, and just like everything that we do, this really pertains to the way that our team does it. So please look at what your team, talk to your resources there, and do it according to how they would have you to do it. Hopefully you've gained something from it, and we'll see you out on the trail.